Hello and welcome to another episode commentary. This one's for episode 3. This episode was a little bit different to make really because we made it last December when there was a bunch of lockdowns and it was a bit of an undertaking because we had to find a way to make an episode whilst keeping people safe and having not that many people on set. Originally this episode was not scheduled to be made. We'd made episode 2 and finished filming that just before the COVID outbreak. And then we thought, we'll just wait and see how long this lasts and then we'll get back to making in the summer maybe. But unfortunately that didn't happen because, as we all know, the pandemic is still ongoing. So we decided to make an episode that could be achieved with a limited cast and crew. So the idea was that we would only have myself and Nicole, who plays Scarlett, on set, and then Chloe, who plays Rachel, would do the voiceover remotely, and then we'd mix in some footage that we have from prior episodes that were unused or angles that we didn't use of shots. This whole sequence that you're watching now on green screen, the idea behind it was that this whole episode, whilst it is Scarlett's story, it's told through the filter of Rachel. So these are true events that happen, but it is Rachel's mind and how Rachel's imagining it. So there's a few visual things that we decided to do with this. The first one was to make all of the before Emmy sections quite extra and kind of look a little bit fake and put this kind of rolling film style sort of vibe to them as if it's kind of a projection, and kind of make it all look a little bit big and just a bit fake and a bit imaginary. The other visual detail that we tried to do was to make the location that Scarlett's in, so this hospice, not look too dissimilar to Rachel's bedroom. It is quite dissimilar. It's not the same, but it is the same sort of colour palette of walls. It's not fancy. It's not what you'd expect in a big Hollywood star to be in. The other thing with this episode was the reason why I ended up going with it as an idea to make was it gave us a chance to look into what it's like to have really severe ME. There's lots of people who are housebound and bedbound and need help with breathing. Unfortunately, their muscles are so weak they need help to support their head, or they have that sensitive a light that they're that sensitive to light that they end up having to wear blindfolds. Unfortunately some people are told that the future and the prognosis is not looking good, that their body's that weak, and I feel like that's a story that we don't often see with Emmy, and I felt that this was an opportunity by telling Scarlett's story to share a bit of that, and also to highlight that this miracle happens and she miraculously recovers, but as the stat says at the end of the episode, and we kind of point out in the voiceover, this is really rare. Most people with Emmy don't recover fully. So again, that kind of highlighting to an audience that maybe isn't as aware of Emmy that recovery is really, really rare, and that's a really bad thing. That obviously with more research in the future and better treatments, maybe that could be different, but unfortunately it's not. And then we wanted to tie it back in with our previous episodes and kind of show some past events and kind of again just tie it back into Rachel, because Emmy, myself and I is a story that is about Rachel and isn't Scarlett's story. Scarlett plays a part in Rachel's story, but it is Rachel's story and this is Rachel filling in the blanks. So I often say, as I say, this is told through Rachel's point of view. So a lot of things that she talks about was, Scarlett would have been younger. Scarlett would have been closer to Rachel's age when these events happened, but she's imagining the version of Scarlett that she knows, the current age of Scarlett. So these events are all true, but are told through the filter of what Rachel's imagining.
hope that day comes.
And again, we wanted to kind of give a, bookend it in a similar way to we always do with our episodes. So yeah, this episode is shorter because obviously I think we shot it in about an hour and a half because of, rules that are about to change with COVID and, people coming into houses. So we ended up with a very, very short window to do it. And I'm really thrilled with what we got. I think it's very different than the other episodes, but also I feel like it does continue what we've done and is a worthy entry into the series. So yeah, I hope this little commentary gave you a little insight into the thought process and the making of it. It was, as I said, a real challenging episode to make and one that we were never expecting to make. But I'm glad we did, because it did mean that we were able to get out an episode at a time where we just wouldn't normally be able to. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to shoot at all in the year of 2020. Thankfully, in the year of 2021, we were able to shoot 2 episodes in the summer, which hopefully at this point you'd have seen one of them, and we can't wait for you to see the other ones. So yeah, thank you for your support as usual, and yeah, till the next commentary. Thanks for watching.